Welcome everybody to another week of nutrition. The topic this week is going to be taking control and how do we take control of our nutrition for ourselves. A very personalized thing, but something that I think is really important for all of us is to understand how do we take control of our nutrition. Um, we all have different types of bodies and therefore different foods will suit us all differently, and how much of each type of macronutrient, which we have previously spoken about, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, will all be personalized to you. So the feedback that you have for yourself is very, very important. And so understanding how to personalize your nutrition to you is super, super relevant. And how do we do that? Well, we've got to take control of our nutrition. And the first thing that I'd like to think about is how do we actually create a plan for ourselves. And do you even want to? We can, at the moment, a lot of the people that are going to be watching this or listening to this are quite young. But I want you to think about taking control and that you can take control of your foods, not to constantly just wait for people just to give you food and then you eat it, to actually open your mind and think that there's a whole world of different types of foods out there for you to eat, delicious world. And also it can align with your school, it can align with your sports or your physical activities that you want to do, and understand that a little bit of action can have a huge outcome towards your happiness with your nutrition. So I would like you to think about creating a why. Okay, so what is your why? So why do you want to take control in the first place? Um, why do you want to maybe learn new recipes? Maybe you have a greater goal of playing sports. Maybe you want to be just super fit so you can be more active. Maybe you want to just continuously are quite academic and just want to be able to study and participate and learn as much as you can, but you're feeling lethargic or tired and you want to be able to do more. So you need a why, and writing down your whys are really, really important. And I call this the blank sheet of paper treatment. You just get a blank sheet of paper, and now all the thoughts that are put down are that obviously coming from you. So why do you want to actually take control? Understanding your why will create also your motivation for when you're struggling to keep going with maybe this new habit or new method of eating that's new to you. The second thing I need you to do is create a little goal and then have a target for that goal. So when we are eating, what goals have you set for yourself? Maybe you'll need to plan out your foods that you're going to eat. Maybe you need to create a range of dishes or foods that you will eat, that maybe you haven't eaten before. Try new foods. So a lot of people will eat the same types of foods over and over again, understanding that I see a lot of rolls, white rolls, crispy chicken fillets, or just ketchup on top. Just getting out of those parameters, white pastas, and actually getting used to eating maybe whole grain foods or plant-based foods, or making your own pasta sauce, tin of tomatoes, some passata, and some herbs. It's really, really easy. Um, and I think this is a real good area where the internet can be a real positive thing, where you can look up some great websites for you to give you some ideas of how to try new foods. There's a greater range and scope for different dishes that you might eat. So I've just highlighted a couple of these that I'd like you to show you. So the first one is My New Roots. This is a great website for how to make healthy choices every day. I'll just really quickly go down. Um, all different kind of recipes that she has with you. She's her cookbooks, nutritions, some delicious food here, but it's all plant-based and it's all homegrown. So that connection with where food comes from, maybe you can cook with your family, your friends, and get a respect for food and understand that it is actually delicious. And it's all about how you put it together, the different portions and the different types of foods go with each other. Salty, acidic, sweet. Um, Roz Purcell is another one that I think is really good. It's her website, Natural Born Feeder. She's got recipes blog, and again, her foods are delicious. I think Roz is a vegan, so they're all vegan-based recipes. But again, just it's all vegetables. But when I say vegetables to you and I say plant-based, I think that people get really bored with it. But here you can see how vibrant it is. We have the color of the rainbow going on, so all your vitamins and minerals in there. But also we have our carbohydrates, our proteins, and our fats in there as well. So really, really healthy stuff. Um, I think most of us will know the happy pear guys. So the happy pear is another recipe that you could work the two boys, and um, they have some amazing foods. What I would usually do with this is I'd add a meat to these dishes, but they really, whenever I've cooked with them, I've done a lot of follow along cooks with their YouTube stuff because they do a lot of 5 minute videos, or you could really quickly go on their website and look up a recipe and then just write it down on a piece of paper and then follow along with it as they cook. So I think that's a really good practice to do. And if you need to add your chicken, just add in your chicken as you're cooking it. But you can see the colors that are involved in their foods, really well displayed, and they've got a full range of different types of food. Oh, that looks delicious. Um, and then the last one, so the last three have just been kind of general population kind of people. And for those of you that are more sporty, I think Davey Nutrition, he is a nutritionist for Dublin GAA and also for Leinster Rugby. And I think he is very good at what he does. Well, obviously, he's very good at what he does, but he puts it across in such a simple terms way, so we can all understand it. And that's him doing his thing. So he's got recipes for exercise, intensive recipes for if you want to work really, really hard, and then your rest days and meal plans. And I like this bit. He's obviously focusing on sleep, exercise, nutrition, your mental skills, which I'm kind of tipping into here to actually help with your lifestyle, and then your nutrition, to give you a really holistic but um, good respect towards nutrition. So let's get back to me and what I was saying there. I'll put those websites on this form for you so you can take this away as your notes. So we have our why we're actually doing this in the first place. We have our goal and we have a target when we're going to get this done by. It's really, really important we have a target for when this happens. So it makes us accountable. So we could say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is. And then I think it's really important that we go back afterwards and assess each week how we're getting on with hitting our targets. And your targets can change, or the goal towards your targets, but it's just once you are aiming towards something, I think it's really, really important that it continuously happens, and that you go back and have a look each week on a weekly basis and say how you're getting on, good or bad. Feedback is really, really important, and how you can change. And journaling is a really good way of doing that, or just on a piece of paper if you're not into writing too much. Just really quickly on a piece of paper, I did it or I didn't do it. How can I make it better? One liner, two liner, and then at least you know going forward for the next week that you need to work on something. You're also looking at understanding when you're going to actually eat your food. And so before you go to school, maybe in the mornings, try and set a plan. Or if you're sleeping in late, then you're not going to get your breakfast. How's that going to affect you? So having respect over when you actually do get your nutrition is really, really important. Um, Try and create a routine around that. So I always like to say that you should have your breakfast regardless of whether you're hungry or not. And then actually, after over time, you will become hungry at that time, and the body gets used to eating then, and then you nearly can't live without it. If the routine is put in place. But if you find yourself doing it for 5 days and then stopping, then you kind of remain all over the place. So having that routine usually takes 14 days for your foods, for your body to kind of get used to eating at the same times, and sync it in with your lunch times in school, and eat at the same time so you've got the energy. But I would always say that having a breakfast is really, really important. Um, and then understanding how much of each food type you should have, which I've spoken about in previous talks. The third point, so we have our why, we have point two there, your goals and your targets. The third point that we have now is commitment and discipline. Okay, so your commitment and your discipline is super important for staying focused on your actual goal. Um, Obviously, we're focusing on nutrition here, but this goes wider. This goes towards all different type of topics that you might have. But I would really link back to your targets and your commitment are kind of linked together. And the discipline side of this relates to the process. Okay, so the process of the actual activity. And no matter what goals you set in any areas of your life, being disciplined and doing something creates a what I call a win, okay, in your head. And it's just basically you telling yourself that you can actually do it. So if you start off with something really simple, maybe drink a glass of water for 30 days. So I think everybody can drink a glass of water first thing in the morning when they wake up for 30 days. So after you've done the 30 days of drinking a glass of water for 30 days, at least you can say, I did it. Now, you'll be amazed, even in day 10 or something like that, you might forget or you might just not want the water, but to have the discipline to actually drink it is really, really important and understanding why you're doing it. And then at the end of it, you can say, I actually did that. So then the next challenge that you might do, or it might lead you to push you towards another challenge, would be to maybe have a breakfast and plan out your breakfast and create 3 different breakfasts and organize when you're going to take them over a 30-day period. Journal how you did it again, that links back in with your targets, and have your feedback. Okay, so that's point 3. Point 4 is have a network of support. Okay, so super, super important. Um, Motivation is a limited thing. We can only stay motivated for ourselves for a limited period of time before we break, or if we're not going to have chocolate for a period of time, you can do it for your 40 days, and then it will break, depending on each individual's willpower. So having an support network is super important. Um, so this is your environment that I'm talking about, your home environment or your work environment. Um, Try and include family members. It creates ownership on yourself, so that you're not going to let them down as well as yourself. And they should feed into it. So maybe they might have a glass of have jugs of water ready for you to go if you're going to have that to drink their water targets each day. And they might follow in with it, or they might join in and understand why you're doing it and help you along the way. Either way, try and link in with your family and friends and try and have them help you out as you do this. Number 5 is reclaiming your sleep. So this is a big one. Um, and I have 3 little points that I'd like to talk about with regard to sleep and how you feel. And if you don't get enough sleep, or if you have any of these 3, you have an issue with your sleep. And the first point there is 60 minutes after waking up, if you're still sleepy, you have an issue with your sleep, and it needs to be looked at. Um, you go into REM, or that deep sleep, the rapid eye movement, roughly 5 times every night. And we need 8 to 10 hours for you to get into those deep REMs. And this is where we repair and restore our body and our brain. It's also where a lot of the learning happens. So if we're not getting into that deep REM sleep because you've only gotten 6 hours sleep, or you stayed up late, where your sleep patterns are all over the place, where you're going to sleep at different times, you're never going to get into that deep REM sleep. And then you wake up and you're still tired or lethargic, and the body's still craving more sleep, especially during adolescence. So um, that's your first one. The second one is during the day, if you're still not awake or cognitively paying attention, you're awake, but just information isn't going in, or you can't think of ideas. Just you're still kind of making wrong decisions. Maybe nutritionally you've made the wrong decisions, or you haven't planned. Um, you're not imaginative about the types of foods that you're eating. You're just sticking to the same stuff, and everything is just kind of a blur and bland. You need to really highlight. This is highlighted to me that there's an issue with your sleep here. And the last one is if you're going to bed and you're feeling a bit wired, you're waking up when you're going to bed, that's an issue, because you should be tired from the day's cognitive and physical activities. So they're the 3 things that you'd want to pay attention to. And a nice analogy that I like to think of sleep. So think of sleep as a phone charger, and you are the phone. Okay, sleep is the charger, and all the apps on your phone are the different parts of your day and the activities that you have to do. So if we're only getting 50% on your phone or 50% sleep, then the phone is obviously going to cut off sooner in the day. And the exact same analogy can be used for you. You can't do apps. You're going to be going in battery mode, or to stop the phone turning off, and the same analogy will happen with you. So you got to make sure you plug in your phone, get to sleep early, and prioritize your time. um, there's something called social jet lag, and I think we know jet lag as if we fly to another country, we have to immediately sync in with their timelines. But in Ireland, or anywhere in the world I should say, if we go to bed and it's all at different times, we have what I call social jet lag. So there is no routine to the body. So what I would like to challenge you guys, and maybe put um, a challenge out to anyone in your family or yourselves, is to have a 14-day where you create a sleep pattern. And by a sleep pattern, it's simply going to bed at the same time every day for 14 days and waking at the same time for 14 days. And 14 days has been shown to um, create a sleep pattern that is positive towards helping out your hormones and making them sensitive so they actually work properly. It gets you hungry at the right time, so you're going to set that time of when you're actually going to eat your foods. So write that down, plan that. When you wake up in the morning, to get you awake straight away, you want to get that body moving. So what I'd like you to do is go for a little walk. You could do exercise if you want, but or a little yoga routine, but the goal is that you move at least 20 minutes, so it's not a long time. So you got to plan that in, and there's no such thing as catching up your sleep at the weekend. So if you are working really hard or staying up really late Monday to Friday on a weekend, and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, I'll catch up that sleep on a Saturday or Sunday," that doesn't happen. Doesn't work for the body. You can't catch up sleep for last Tuesday on a Saturday or a Sunday. So you have to have the same thing, same sleep pattern from a Monday to Sunday, and I'd like you to do it for 2 weeks and see how you feel. So there's a challenge for you. Try and get your family in on it. Set a time for when you're actually going to go to sleep. And do those things. And the last point is forming positive habits. And I call these my mini wins. Um, so I don't want you to make a big habit. All I want you to do is something really, really small that you can actually do, like flossing your teeth, or maybe stacking the dishes away after you've stopped using them, or drinking enough water, as I said beforehand. So my advice is to create a list of 10 habits that you want to do with regard to your nutrition, and then maybe pick the top 3 to develop into your day. So um, mini ones. I don't want you to do all of these little small mini wins. You've made a note of these, and then your goal is to achieve these. Then plan how you will do it and set a timeline, and you have the habit. So 30, 60, 90 days. I believe a habit takes 66 days to achieve something. So maybe a 66-day mini habit of doing the same thing over and over again, and it's little mini things. Drinking water, flossing your teeth, as I said. So they're the main things that I wanted to go over today, and how you would take control of your nutrition. Understand what is your why and why you actually want to do it in the first place. Create a goal and a target of when you're going to achieve it by, and what the things are you're going to do. Commit to it. The commitment is the process. Really, really important. And before and after pics of people on the internet, and you see the before and after, or learning in school, you're learning a language, you're learning a musician, learning how to do maths. The process of going in every day and doing it over and over again is how you actually learn. It's the repeated nature of it. The exact same thing with nutrition. Commit to it, be disciplined towards it, and stick to it. Have a support network. In school, it's your friends, it's your teachers, but you need that support network when you do stuff yourself. So have your family, have your friends, and yourself maybe journaling. So you have that relationship with yourself, that self-talk that's so important. Reclaim your sleep. So understand how important sleep is to you. You are that phone charger. The phone won't work if it's not charged fully. You're the exact same. And form those positive habits, those mini wins. Understand that the little small things make a huge difference to your habits and to your life. Thanks again, guys, and I hope this is of benefit to you. Continue doing great stuff in school. Cheers.